I'm on the PWI side of things because I'm a fan of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but I'm also a fan who understands that this is a business model of theirs that needs to evolve. For those of you who've never read PWI in your life, let me explain briefly what they are. They are an in-universe magazine that covers wrestling as a real sport through the eyes of the storylines presented. I remember one time, specifically in 1998, late 98, early 99, they did a quote-unquote phone interview with Stevie Ray and Booker T after Harlem Heat split up for the first time. Because, yes, they had done more than one breakup with that tag team. And they were talking about how Stevie had joined the NWO and how Book wasn't happy about it. And he's like, man, you're still my brother, but, you know, if I got to drop you for the brand I'm going to, and Book's like, see, then that's the problem. You forgot where you came from. And he's like, I forgot where I came. And I don't know if it was real or if they just like, let's just figure out what their voices would be like. But, you know, by real, I mean, like, they could have actually had Stevie Ray and Booker T actually do this for them, or they could have just written the conversation as they think that Booker and Stevie would have sounded like. I don't know exactly which route they did. But as a kid, I'm like, oh, cool, they actually did this for the magazine. As an adult, I'm going, oh, yeah, no, this was totally made up. But they've always kind of done it in the scope that this is real. Let's cover it like it's real. I've always been of the mindset that you should cover it as it is, talk about it as it is, address it as it is. Now, they've done more of that in recent years by doing more behind-the-curtain stuff, talking about backstage issues and all that. But they really do have arguably the second biggest wrestling brand in all of the industry. Between the Wrestling Observer, I would say the Wrestling Observer is undoubtedly number one, well known. The Observer awards are, you know, constantly, you know, heralded, mocked, just chastised, beguiled. Just it's always something. The next big thing every year, though, is the PWI 500. PWI has a lot of clout. They got a lot of influence. They have a lot of ability to turn around a struggling identity and to thrust forward into a new world. But the problem is their 500, their PWI 500 is all based on in-world, in-universe wins and losses. So like Roman Reigns will always be among the top 5 because he's beaten Seth Rollins and, you know, John Cena and whoever. And if he's always beating the big names, he's always going to be number 1 on the 500 because that's just how they are. But if they actually were to change this and make it more of an industry magazine or an industry kind of online outlet with industry online shows, I think it would behoove them. It would definitely turn around the perception on them at the moment. But their perception kind of took a little ding this morning. No, I'm sorry, a long time ago. I thought this was from today. This is from April 3rd. I only saw it today because I saw it in a retweet. All right. PWI, in an official tweet, said, for those who are wondering, PWI currently recognizes 4 championships as legitimate world titles. Oh, boy. The WWE Championship, the Blue Universal Championship, the AEW World Championship, which is, you know, held by 2 people, and the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, which isn't even a world title. In fact, only one of these is a world title, AEW's, and it's only been around for 6 weeks. And Flabby Jericho and hey, that guy who threw mustard at people, John Ambrose, only 2 champions. But titles like the Impact World Championship and the Ring of Honor World Championship with names like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Seth Rollins, Sting, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, Samoa Joe again, Loki. These aren't world titles? Pourquoi? I am baffled by this, Marcus, because I think about something like boxing. You got the IBF, the IBA, the BBA, the 448, the 1642, the 1948. You got the I-1670Z. They got like 48 different goddamn governing bodies in boxing. They're all world titles. I don't see the issue with that. It adds more prestige. It brings up more value in the guys, and it really highlights what titles have a lineage that you can follow back and respect on. And I am not trying to crap on AEW. I've not been a fan of the product. I've stopped watching the product. But my comment on them with Jericho, who was 50 when they went 49 when he won the world title, and Jon Moxley, who spent the last year and a half as a mid-carder, that's not exactly prestigious names. Now Moxley's super over. So he's going to bring that belt with him and get back over and bring that belt to a higher, place in the lexicon, if you will, in terms of world title lineage. But it's got to start somewhere. It's at the bottom right now. The Lucha Underground title is more prestigious than the AEW World Championship. In fact, your third biggest name, Cody Rhodes, can't even fight for the goddamn belt anymore. The NWA World title should be on this. You're welcome. The NWA World title belt should be on this list. The Impact World title should be on this list. The Ring of Honor World title should be on this list. The AAA... Okay, actually, you know what? In defense of PWI, the AAA World title belt is the Mega Championship. It should absolutely not be on this list because that belt has zero credibility. The All Japan Championship should be on this list. The Triple Crown title.
NWA's championship.
Yep.
Should be on this list.
Yep. Like there's 8, 10, maybe even 12 companies with legitimate gripes to having a world title that should be recognized by this publication. Now, AAA. The only reason I'm excluding them is because they are constantly making up new belts that are like the top belts. You know, the AAA Mega Championship is only like 10 years old. It's not exactly a new belt. I mean, it's not exactly an old belt.
Real quick, which one is the one that Taya had? Because she called it, well, obviously this is how it's supposed to be called, it AAA or whatever she said it. Is that the belt she had?
No, she had the AAA Reina de Reinas title, which is the Queen of Queens title. Essentially, their women's championship.
Gotcha.
The Mega Championship actually was established the same year the TNA World Championship was in 2007. So maybe some respect to the Mega Championship. The name's terrible. Also, they ended up stripping. They stripped it Cybernetico because he left the company. They stripped Alberto El Patron. Why? Because he left the company. And Jeff Jarrett has won it like 4 times. So, like, you know, if you're putting the belt on Jeff Jarrett in 2018, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, by the by, Kenny Omega is holding the championship currently. So.
Oh yeah, he is holding the championship. Yeah, I mean, you know, when I saw the tweet, I was like, well, that's complete trash. But at the same time, like, I'm kind of grateful that I'm in a place now, and a lot of it has to do with a lot of the conversation that we had, specifically coming off of the comic book realm, where so many people, we've talked about this particular point at nauseam, so many people put so much stock when it comes to their perceptions and opinions about movies into, you know, Collider and Rotten Tomatoes, as my friends across the pond would call it, Rotten Tomatoes. And everybody, and all these so-called quote-unquote popular film critics on the Tube of You and all these other places, and they refuse to come up with their own ideas, perceptions, of opinions about stuff that they actually like and or don't like, because they rather, you know, go with a trend or go with a popular party, if you will, not talking politics, because they want to feel like they're a part of something. But this, it feels like 100% bias. Feels 100% trendy when you throw in the AEW. Like you said, it's 6 weeks old. Yes, we know it's been around longer than that, but whatever.
5 months. It's still 5 months, if that.
Yeah, that. It feels like they thrown in New Japan there because, much like with WWE, they're undeniable in terms of getting shine, because oftentimes they're the only people that WWE will openly, verbally acknowledge, other than the people that they have under lock and key as feeder systems at this point. But yeah, just 100% feels biased. I mean, obviously they hold no credibility with Impact because that's the trendy thing to do, to throw Impact under the bus. They probably don't even acknowledge Lucha Underground as a legit wrestling company, which had that debate if you want to. It was on the TV show.
Well, no one does anymore because they're dead.
Exactly. But
back when back when Pentagon was snapping bones and breaking hose, yeah, should have counted that belt. I mean,
should have counted that belt. Like I said, it feels biased. It's whack. It's weak. Again, going back to your earlier point about the last idiot with the tweet, it's like trying to cater to this niche audience that's like, because you knew people would go blow up if they didn't put AEW on there. All these, you know, new twerps and twits. Like, oh, you don't acknowledge AEW, so you're just going to crap on crap on Jericho, the veteran, the legend, the king, and it's kind of in a lot of ways it's pathetic. But again, like I said, I don't hold credibility to that because, like you said, this product that we love is for everybody, despite what some people may think, and throw people like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Sting of all people under the bus when you don't acknowledge that. But what oftentimes sucks too is that a lot of people in the industry won't acknowledge it
Mm-hmm.
that have held those titles. It kind of pisses me off sometimes when guys like Styles or other people who've been in the company won't kind of acknowledge the work that they put in and did in Impact because they may still hold a grudge or, like I said, it's popular to crap on the company now because they consider themselves with the big kahuna or what have you. So when I see stuff like Matt Hardy 100% giving credibility to Impact when everybody was kind of kissing his ass for the broken stuff with AEW, and he threw the credit back to Impact for the time he got to really cultivate all that stuff there, that put a smile on my face. Because you can't ignore history or the obvious, and the obvious is people clearly found out about that because he was doing it at Impact, and for people to say, "Well, I just found out about it," you're wrong.
Unless you just got into
Because there was a
wrestling.
point. Exactly, because there was a point where even the people in WWE was tweeting about it when it was hot, and even and Chad has said that's not his particular thing, but that was at a very critical point in Impact, one of many, that they kind of had to rely on it, and to their benefit. But again, like you said, when you don't acknowledge bare bone facts, it just makes you lose credibility even faster. So for them to have that list as short sighted and narrow as it is, it just kind of speaks volume to the level they're trying to stoop. So.
Yeah, I don't like the deletion stuff. I don't like the cinematic wrestling aspect. But TNA at the time was on the doorstep of death to parlay Matt Hardy. And that broken stuff gave it a bit of a resonance that made it more attractive to potential buyers. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Now, I don't know if Matt Hardy specifically saved TNA with the broken stuff. I don't know if if Anthem would have gotten in bed with Impact prior to that. I don't know if they were thinking about it beforehand and Matt Hardy, it just had a peak. And regardless of if Matt Hardy had a peak with the company or not, they were still going to buy it. I don't know. But Matt Hardy was integral at a point when they needed a new buyer and they got one. You can say Matt Hardy helped get that company sold. You can say Matt Hardy didn't help it. I don't know which one is true. Maybe both, maybe neither. But Matt Hardy really did bring some eyes to the product at a time when it needed it. So even if I didn't like it, I still repped it because it was something that was gaining eyes, gaining traction, getting people to talk about a product that was really good. That and that feud with Eddie and Bobby Lashley was fantastic, and no one talks about it. They should. I think that's mostly because Bobby went and busted in WWE.
So last time that guy had credibility. If you say he has credibility now, your opinion on that could be skewed because you want to, you have a deep attraction for Lana, which is understandable. But to say
or a deep attraction for Lashley, I mean,
blacked.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm glad someone did. So,
yeah,
I think for me, a title one needs to be called a world title in order to be a world title. So, like the WWE Championship, the Universal Championship, and the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, not world titles because they need to be called world titles. In fact, the IWGP title, I'm saying that more to be flippant. I don't actually mean it.
Yeah.
But I do mean. The IWGP Championship was never intended to be a world title. A Grand Prix is a tournament. And it's called the Inoki Wrestling Grand Prix Heavyweight Championship because it was supposed to be won in a tournament. But Antonio Inoki's kind of all about the big fuck that idea, and I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. So it became a belt because Inoki. So when I look at this list, I just think to myself, you got one title that's called a world title, and it's been around for about 6 months, give or take. And the only two guys who have held it have been 49-year-old Chris Jericho and 34-year-old mid-Carter Jon Moxley. Sorry, Dean Ambrose. Sorry, Jon Moxley. Yeah. If you say that belt has more credibility than a championship belt that has been worn by AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Ken Shamrock, Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, Rhino, Raven, who's who of a wrestling mountaintop, Abyss, Eddie Edwards, EC3, Eli Drake, James Storm, Bobby Roode. That belt has less credibility than Jericho and Moxley. Are you fucking kidding me? As I said in the tweet, do better.